side to this second edition of the IES Showroom Tour today. We had a previous one about an hour or 2 hours ago, and now we have the second one for today. And Sophie and myself, we are very excited to bring you some insights into how we live and how we work at SAP for the SAP Students Day this year. My name is Christian. I'm joined by Sophie. We are both working in the IES Showroom, which is provided by Intelligent Enterprise Solution. That's the area, that's how it's called. Intelligent Enterprise Solution, that's the team which is providing the Intelligent Enterprise at SAP. What does that mean? That's what we want to show today, how we work, how we live. The Intelligent Enterprise Showroom is our tool, the platform we use to where we want to share those insights. You can see it in Waldorf and soon also in the US, and also a digital one. That's the platform which we want to share in a few minutes. But before that, I want to show you a video from the opening of the showroom in 2019 in Waldorf to just give you a few visuals and a few ideas how the showroom would look in a physical space and how you would experience it here. So the showroom is really a space where people can come in, people can join us, people can join IT and discuss and think and learn about IT tools, ideas, mindsets, but just basic apps and very small software to improve their own work life, how efficient they are, how productive they are, and how easy it is to work. And to show and exchange this knowledge, we use this digital showroom today, which I will share now. The digital showroom is basically the same content, but brought into a digital space, into a website that we can bring it all over the world. So, I mean, I'm in the home office now, Sophie's in the home office now. I guess you're all at home right now as well. So if you like, by the way, you can also write us in the chat where you are right now, from which location you are turning in. Would be quite interesting. I myself, I'm in Mannheim, Germany. That's very close to Waldorf, but it's my home office. And we can bring with that digital showroom our knowledge, our ideas, our discussions to everybody in their homes. All employees at SAP are more or less working at home, working from their home offices. So we can go with a digital showroom to our teams, to our people at home, and bring them the discussion there. And that's what we want to do today. We want to explore how SAP works, how the people at SAP work, how they live in an intelligent enterprise. We do that in 3 pillars. We have SAP products. SAP is running SAP, so we're using our own software, where customer number 1 means we can directly consume the software we are also creating and selling. We have a feedback line to our product engineering, means we really can dive into our own products, explore them, see how they work, how we can use them in a company, and then also tell the stories about how we use our own products. But we also have internal tools. That's the second point here. Our internal tools are created by IT. They are provided to our SAP employees. We have a huge variety of different tools for different people, for different user groups, different needs, which are accomplished with these tools. They can be small apps, web apps, different services, just to make the work life of the employee easier. And the last point on that page are external tools. We also use external tools. I mean, everybody knows the typical players. We have the Microsoft Office suite, we have Zoom, we have Mural, Slack, however you tool you want to call. There are a bunch of them out there, and we also consume a few of them. In this tour, we want to dive into these different topics and see what do we use, in which configuration do we use, and how do we combine it? How is the experience working at SAP designed? We dive into different stations. So the showroom is divided in different stations, which is tackling different topics. We have, for example, a station, Adapt New Technology, which is talking about new technologies, how we adapt, how the station is calling it, how do we adapt new technologies at SAP? What do we think about new technologies? How do we dive in those technologies? But we are also going firsthand into topics like collaboration. How do we work in the cloud? What devices do we use? What devices does each employee use? But as mentioned at the beginning, we're also talking about SAP products here, for example, SAP Ariba, SAP Concur, how we tackle experience management, but also our communities, for example, our Digital Hero community. What that is, you will learn in this tour. In the meantime, if you have any questions, any ideas, any feedback you want to share, any comment you want to do, you can use our chat, you can use the Q&A tool. This tour is shaped in some sort of a dialogue, means Sophie and I will present in changing roles. So sometimes I speak, sometimes she speaks, but also there's someone always in the chat monitoring the chat which is coming in and can interrupt the speaker, so we can also tackle questions in the middle. But also at the end, we have a Q&A section. So for now, I would say let's jump right in and have a look into our first station and start the tour with a piece of mindset. The first station, the first topic we want to talk about is adapting new technologies. New technologies are always out there. You can basically put together many letters and have just a new technology. You have AI, VR, AR, blockchain, you name it. There are a lot of new technologies out there disrupting the consumer world, our private lives, but also disrupting the business. Take VR, for example, virtual reality. Virtual reality is a very big player in the gaming industry right now. So all the big brands doing consoles and computer games are jumping into the VR technology and bringing that out there to the consumer, to us gamers at home, playing video games in our living rooms. That's about our private life, about consumer life. But how does a technology like VR, but you can exchange it with every new technology, how does such a technology disrupt the business world, a world how like SAP's world or any other world? How is such a technology coming into a company? And in this station, I want to show you and try to show you how we adapt those technologies. In the beginning, you usually don't know, is this technology beneficial for us or isn't it? So can we do something cool with it or don't? And we don't really have an answer to it. There's a new technology coming out and yeah, there are the question marks. So what we do is we try it out. We take a new piece of technology, we buy the hardware or buy the software or we create it ourselves or whoever configuration you want to think of, and bring it to the company and see what use cases do we have in the company. How can we combine SAP and this technology together to make something easier, to make something great, to provide something for our employees, for our customers. And that's how we tackle that. Another example here would be our bots, artificial intelligence. We at SAP, we have a bot. Bot's name is Copilot, and it's provided to SAP employees. So every employee at SAP can go in the Fiori Launchpad, open the Copilot, can interact with the bot. The Copilot itself is a bot which is consuming different other bots we have at SAP. We have, for example, a bot for IT support. We have a bot for our people So names, email addresses, telephone numbers, and such things. And our Copilot is consuming all those information, all those bots together and providing with one bot, with one interface, that knowledge to SAP employees. For example, an employee has troubles connecting to our Wi-Fi. He or she can simply ask Copilot, I can't connect to our corporate Wi-Fi. What can I do? And Copilot is providing some solutions, some ideas how to change that. Or very basic things which come up much often. I forgot my password, what to do? That's very bad. Copilot has the answer. But it's not only about IT support. You can also use it to orientate yourself on a campus. For example, you're on a foreign location, at some SAP location you don't know very good, or just in a building you don't know very good. You may have questions. Sorry. Where's the next printer? Where can I park? Where do I have parking spaces for e-vehicles where I can charge my car? Or basically, I'm hungry. Where can I get something to eat? You can ask Copilot and you get the answer. You have many opportunities to ask about lunch, like, is it vegetarian? Where do I get something vegetarian and whatnot? For our company car drivers, we have many things they can ask or they may ask, and they can do it with Copilot. But also very basic things with people, like who is that colleague, who's that telephone number which called, and who's that number. So Copilot can react to that and really say, also shorten up some time we need. In the end, everybody needs to decide on his or her own if this technology in this specific scenario is good for her or good for him or not. So if this technology is really beneficial, it needs to be decided by the user, by the consumer, by SAP employees. But now when we really see the use case, we can do the decision. We really can go ahead and decide. We have the ideas, we have the impressions. How does it work? Does it work? Does it make sense? Yes or no? And afterwards, we can really then decide. And that's how we try to approach new technology, but that's also how we approach different other things. Maybe Sophie, you have some impressions from your work life at SAP where this idea, this mindset comes also into place.
Yes, so that is a good question. So I am a working student at the Intelligent Enterprise Showroom. And as I am a master student in international marketing management, you would probably think that I am only doing tasks concerning my course of study. But no, you also have the chance within SAP to look out for other topics you find interesting. So, for instance, I was also keen to learn about how to create mockups for the Digital Intelligent Enterprise Showroom. And that's why I also started to take over tasks concerning UI and design. I just tried it out, and my colleagues are and were really supportive about that. And I think personally, getting to know other subject areas helped me to expand my horizon and is still helping me to this day to better communicate our message within SAP. So if you are a working student, you are not just obligated to do the tasks which are in your role description. You can also ask if you can participate in other topics within your department and therefore learn more about different work processes. And this, in the end, can also benefit you long-term in your role or in your career at SAP.
It sounds really great, but it also sounds like a lot of collaboration, working together, learning together, growing together. And for that, we need tools. I mean, especially in these times right now, everybody's working from home. We need to connect to each other. We are not in the same room right now to discuss a topic and work on a project, but we're at home. And therefore, we have tools. I mean, these tools aren't new. Everybody knows Microsoft Teams and so on and so on. We also have that in the company. Who has thought of that? On the station collaboration tools, we really dive into our collaboration strategy, how we think about collaboration tools and how we want to bring them into the company. And we have a collaboration strategy which differentiates our tool into separate categories. I mean, we need tools to call each other, we need tools to chat, we need video solutions, meeting solutions, group collaboration, and so on and so on. I mean, you all know the scenarios, how we collaborate together. And for most of those scenarios, we use Microsoft Teams. But we also have some niche tools which aren't directly available, but if you need them, you can use them, which are, for example, Slack and Zoom. I guess some of you already also know these tools. For specific groups who need them, we also have them in our portfolio for our employees. So we have mainstream tools for everybody to use, that you can also rely on those tools. Everybody has Microsoft Teams. Everybody knows how to work with it, has it installed, is online. You can reach people every time, everywhere. You can just dial them via Microsoft Teams. But we also have specific tools for specific needs to really that really can tackle all our use cases. Sophie, do you want to share some ideas how that applies to your workday?
Yes, of course. So as Christian said, at SAP, we have different collaboration softwares which are offered to us. And when I start my day normally, I usually use at first Microsoft Outlook in the morning to check my emails and to get updated. I also use the calendar to send appointments to my colleagues for Zoom or Microsoft Team calls. For instance, we use Zoom mainly for our IES showroom tours because it's a niche solution which needs individual license. And we use Microsoft Teams for conversations around different topics or tasks. Maybe you already used Microsoft Teams. There you have also the possibility to direct message colleagues and create groups to exchange information. And if I want to know, for example, what kind of tasks I have, I take a look in Microsoft Planner or To Do to view them. And otherwise, I can also add tasks, which I should do in the future, and of course, to remember them. For collaboration online, we use tools like Whiteboard or Mural. So Whiteboard is a mainstream solution, and as in real life, you can just add sticky notes to it, and everyone involved can work on the board at the same time. I also did a mural session, which is similar to the whiteboard, with some colleagues to collect ideas for a project we planned. So I think in general, the whiteboard or the mural tool is a good way to brainstorm together and find solutions for a specific topic. And as well, when we are working, we have to save our work. So I use for that OneDrive or SharePoint. And here it is important to note that OneDrive is for one person and SharePoint is to share. So that means that with OneDrive, you can save your own work in a folder where you only have access to it. But if you are leaving the company, your data here will be deleted. So it's better to store all your files within SharePoint. So all your team members have also access to it. And there's also actually like a great story we have. Some years ago, we had a student in our department who went on vacation and of course took her laptop with her because she was working on her bachelor thesis and she wasn't finished at that time. So on one day, her laptop was stolen. And of course, she was scared what to do. And her thesis was on the laptop. But gladly, she saved her thesis on OneDrive. And when she got a new laptop from the company, all her data was still there. And 1 week later, she could submit her thesis successfully. So what we can take away from that is that we should keep in mind not to save our thesis on our device, but also save it somewhere where we have access to it when something is happening.
I think that also applies to our work life, right? Save everything securely the cloud, that you can also put it from device to device. So we are also working with multiple devices, with phones, with tablets, with our notebooks, and with OneDrive and similar solutions. We can also bring our files from one device to another without handling USB sticks and sending it via email and stuff. It's just there, and you can open it and work with it. And that's just great. So your impressions of this Office suite sounds like there's a product for everything. Everything we need to do, we can handle with one or the other app, workshops, task management. So that's great. But talking about different solutions and also about devices, let's jump into our device idea. We have a station called Choose Your Device, and that's a very dear station to us. In the station Choose Your Device, we want to present our mindset, our philosophy about devices. We want to bring into our company the idea that everybody is deciding on his or her own what device he or she needs to work. If you need a big notebook, you can have a big notebook. If you want to have a smaller notebook because you travel much, you can get a smaller notebook. If you want to have a phone, you can get a phone. If you don't want to have a phone, you don't need to have a phone. Also, same thing with tablets. In the end, those devices aren't incentives anymore. I think that's a thing from the past. Those devices are really work devices, and we need to enable our people that they can really work with the devices they are known to, they can work with, they have maybe also experience in the past. And we have also a huge variety of devices at SAP. So independently, if you want to have or have not a phone or have not a tablet, we also have different operating systems and different brands, and you decide what you want to use, what you may have used in the past, what's your preferred device, what you can work with best. And that's what we want to show here, that this is really our idea, how it should go. Sophie, how was it when you started SAP?
Yes, so when I started at SAP, I was allowed to decide which operating system I would like to use. And for me, I found it very pleasant because you have your habits and you also don't want to switch to a new operating system if you're not used to it for work. So when I got my laptop, I was also given the opportunity to order some additional hardware via Ariba. So Ariba is, so to say, like the internal website for SAP employees, where you can just order hardware or necessary equipment for your daily work. And yeah, so at that case, I just ordered a mouse. And there's actually a new feature at that time implemented to add your home address for it. So it was also delivered to my home. So that was really convenient. And what I think is also worth to mention is that I also got a mobile phone to work with from my department. And normally, not all working students are getting mobile phones. So I was very happy about that. And therefore, I could also explore what kind of applications are offered in the mobile world of SAP. So for instance, I could check my emails on my mobile phone or simply direct message a person if you need something. And we will also explain later on what the self-service is about.
Mobile phone, that sounds exciting, right? Let's dive into that. In our mobile world, we want to explore what devices we can use for that, and also what apps, what services, what solutions we provide to our employees, and how we created them. Basically, we have two separate categories of applications which are out there. We have web applications, which you can run in a browser on every device, in any operating system, mobile, desktop. It doesn't care. You just open it in a browser, and the app is there and running. And for example, we have here brought just 3 examples. Our Fiori Launchpad hosts about 400 or 500 different applications So there's quite a bunch. I haven't used all of them because there are just too many, and not every application applies to me as my job role, or to Sophie, or to every other person. But there are a lot of apps out there which are, which apply to what you do. A very basic one, just to get the idea, would be leave request. Leave request is, I guess, used by nearly every employee, because in leave request, you can create vacation times, or you put in sick leave, or any other time you are away from the company. And that's a very basic app. You can just put in your date, and if it's vacation or sick leave or whatever, and send it to your manager, and it's done. Also, a very great application is our unified ticketing app. For example, we have here. We have different ticketing systems at SAP. We have one for HR topics, and one for IT topics, and for facility topics, and so on and so on. And sometimes you don't even know in which ticketing system, to which addresser you need to send your tickets. So you just open Unified Ticketing app, put in your request, your issue, and send it. And it's also then categorized and sent into the right system. So it combines all our ticketing systems together into one app that you consume all your tickets in one screen, in one app, in one service, without changing between different systems. And our Jumble app in the middle is, you wouldn't think of that in a business context at first, but it does make sense if you explain it. Jumble is like a digital flea market for SAP employees. It's a platform where you can sell, search, and buy stuff from other employees at SAP. And why it is relevant for us as a business is Jumble is the perfect example how easy it is to create such small apps, such services in just no time. All those apps run on a business technology platform, which is like the foundational platform all our applications and services are running on. And if you have that platform, you can just very quickly and create new apps, new services based on some ideas, and bring them to employees in the Fiori Launchpad. And Jumble is one of them. It was just created in a very small amount of time. Some employees had the idea, and they created the app, and here we go. Now we have Jumble, and we can have a flea market within our employeeship. That's really great. We can also create on the business technology platform native applications which run directly on the phone. They run like those apps you install maybe from the App Store on your iPhone or similar. And we also have an app store for our corporate devices. That's a corporate store where you can specifically download SAP apps. They are just available for SAP phones and for SAP employees. But they are out there. They are also built on that platform. And we have a bunch of them. We have just a few demos here on our digital showroom, just click through demos where I can quickly show you what we have. But we also brought some demos on the phone where I just show you in a few minutes how those apps really look on the phone when we use them. For example, we have here the Campus app. I will just quickly go over the app because we also prepared the demo on the phone. The Campus app is an app where we can navigate through SAP campuses. I mean, we have many SAP campuses. Some campuses are rather large. Not everybody knows every campus or even every building, every floor, especially in Waldorf. That can get confusing from time to time. And we have map material of our buildings and our campuses in the app, and you can use it to orientate yourself on the campus. I will show you that in a minute. We also have an app called Out of Office, which we can use for creating auto replies when you're on vacation or sick leave or something like that. And that's also a very small use case and a very simple app, but it's very effective. Just a few clicks and you can accomplish what you need to do. We will also show that in a minute. We also brought as a demo the Approve It app. We also will show that in a minute. What we here just quickly want to show here is Easy Connect. Easy Connect is a rather old app, so it's been there for some time, but it's still very effective. Easy Connect is collecting all the meetings you have in your calendar, putting it in this app here, like the daily scrum and the team call and all the other meetings we have here. And it's collecting also the dial-in information for that specific call. And you now think maybe, why do I need to call in into a meeting? I do have cell connection, right? Or I have Wi-Fi. Nowadays, at least I experience that when everybody is at home, the Wi-Fi connection at my home is quite stressed. So it's sometimes really difficult to dial into a Teams meeting or a different meeting because the internet connection is just too bad. Audio is breaking up, video is breaking up. It just doesn't make any fun. With Easy Connect, I can just click on the call, dial in via my phone line. And I don't need to handle all the codes and the numbers which I need to call to dial in. That's just done automatically. But now I would say, let's jump onto the phone. In the meantime, while I'm changing screens, Sophie, do we have any questions in the chat or in the Q&A tool?
So not yet. We just got a question, but I answered it in the chat. What is the Jumble app? And you already explained it in the tour. So I think
we talked about that. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, then hop onto the phone. So I brought my corporate phone with us, which is this one. I have just a home screen with a bunch of apps which are relevant in my work life. Sorry for that. Like you can see here, we have, for example, the mentioned Microsoft Teams and some other apps. For example, on the left bottom corner, we have leave requests, which we also saw in the beginning, which we can use to put in leave requests for vacation and sick leaves and such things. But when we do that, we have vacation, that's good. But sometimes, especially myself, I forget to put in my out of office reply. And that's a very easy solution with the out of office app, how to do that, Sophie.
Yes, so if you are out of office, then you can simply use this app to automate your messages. So as you can see here, you will get this overview, and then you have the possibility to type in information about the reason why you are out of office. So here it would be, for instance, vacation. Okay, here, for instance, vacation, a business trip, or a workshop. And if you go back, you can also type in information about your access to your email. So if you have no access at all, or maybe limited access. Other information you can also give is your return date, and as well an alternative contact where people can reach you or reach the person if they have any questions when you're not there. And then on the bottom, you can see a message preview, which will be generated. And if you click on the top right corner to enable, then this message will be automatically scheduled and will be sent to all the people who are writing you an email. So I think that's very convenient, honestly.
That's great. So just a few clicks and it's done. That's the idea how we want to tackle those issues and how we want to provide our software to our employees. There's another app. So out of office is applicable for many people. Most people do vacation. I hope everybody has vacation. And then you also need to put in your out of office reply. But you also have apps which are more or less relevant to just a specific group. For example, we have apps which are more or less relevant only for sales. We have specific sales app for them. But we also have, for example, some apps which are more or less just for managers. That would be the Approve It app we have here. The Approve It app is collecting all the requests, the workflows, which are coming in for a manager to approve or reject. Workflows can be invoices which need to be approved, leave requests which an employee will put in needs to be approved, or any other request which is sent to a manager. And then we have this list here. FYI, that's just demo data, so that's all fine to show here. We have that list here. For example, we have the request here, and I can submit that, and I can also submit this one. But that's effective, but I can switch the mode here to that swipe mode, and I get the exact same list, but in this time, I swipe left and right to approve or reject. For example, I have that canceled leave request here. I approve that and swipe it to the right. Nicole want to go on the leave request in some vacation time. That's fine. Swipe right. Anna want to have some leave. That's also fine, and so on and so on. I guess you get the idea. What we want to do here, and what we want to also show with that app, is also very small, very minor apps can make fun and should be fun. I mean, why shouldn't we have fun at work? Isn't that also what life is about, having fun and a good time? And if we can put a little smile into some manager when he's using that app after a shitty day, I think that's a good sign. Cool. What else do we have? We have the mentioned Campus application. As mentioned, Campus is for navigating on campuses. For example, we have here the Waldorf campus. Waldorf campus is quite large campus, so we have many buildings. And if you haven't been to Waldorf as an SAP employee, or you maybe don't work in Waldorf because you work at any other location, you don't know that campus very good. And that can be very confusing, as I can remember from my first days in Waldorf. For example, we have here the map. We have all the separate buildings. And when I zoom in further, for example, on building 1, I get also a map from the building itself. And somehow it's not loading the maps right now. Here we go. That's, for example, the first floor of Waldorf 1. I can see here all the different rooms. I can see here on the bottom, there are some meeting rooms. I can see there's also some toilets. There are some post offices, the stairways, and a printer. That's great. And I know where I can print some things. And that's applicable to every campus, every building we have here, which also makes it very easy when we are back again in traveling mode and we are allowed to travel and we visit other SAP buildings or other locations, and also maybe other countries. We have it very easy to just navigate where we need to go and where we find different things. And I think that's also a very great example of what we can do with our small apps. And there are a lot more apps out there. So it's also very interesting to check that out if you have the chance to do so. For now, I'm going back to my desktop, which is this one here. This one. Okay, back in the showroom. Let's put in another example, I'd say. We have also brought one of those web apps, the top ones here. I could have easily put that on my phone, just open a browser, open Safari, and put in Fiori Launchpad and go on the app. But I also want to show to you that these apps are also available on the desktop. And we brought, for example, the SAP Onboarding app. This onboarding app was created especially in those times where everybody is at home. I mean, we're all in the home office right now, and people need to be onboarded. People are joining SAP every day, and it's very hard to come into an existing team when you're meeting the team. But I think it's even harder to join a team virtually, to have a virtual onboarding. I guess that's very hard. I've never done it, but I can just imagine that it's difficult. But I think, Sophie, you joined SAP during the pandemic. How was the experience?
So for me, with the onboarding app, it was actually a quite good experience to explore SAP. And for instance, when I joined SAP, it was like in January, and at that time, everyone worked at home. And so with the onboarding app, new employees find every information for the first steps at SAP. And this was quite helpful for me because I didn't know much about SAP or where to find what. So for instance, on the start page of the onboarding app, which you can see here, I could see who's my manager, who's my buddy. You can see information about your first day, so local onboarding, IT essentials. And you will also find information about topics around learning and development or even networking. Then on the second page, so stay on track, you will find tools you need on a daily basis. So for instance, we have here the SAP Fiori Launchpad. And then we have Me at SAP, which gives you information about topics which are specifically interesting for you, such as personal data, time and vacation, how the process is, or what the SAP talk is. So just to give you a hint, the SAP talk is just a talk between you and your manager. And the last point here is mobile applications, where you can find some cool apps to save time and be productive. And on the third page, so live at SAP. Yes. Here you can find the latest news about SAP. So if you want to get to know the company better, this site is probably interesting for you. Here you can see a great summary, what the strategy is, what a brand is about, and of course, what guidelines there are. And if you will be a part of SAP in the future, the onboarding app is the best place to start your onboarding experience.
Sounds great, Sophie. And it's also, again, a great example how we can pull up very small applications on the business technology platform, just pulling in the different information from HR and IT and facilities, what people need to do in their first days, put it into an app and put it out there to our people. I think that's also a great idea and a great example. So maybe I just want to join again SAP to have that experience. Okay, cool. We are about to end in terms of time. I just want to show you one last thing at SAP, which is our community world. For example, we have our Digital Heroes community. And that's a great thing. I just want to show you what's about that. The Digital Heroes is a community of different people from different board areas, different backgrounds, different roles, different ages, and even different countries worldwide coming together to learn and grow about IT, about tools, about productivity, about just really the basic ideas and stuff which is out there for us employees, but also to spread that and share that with their colleagues and their teams. A digital hero is typically the person which is coming up next to you, maybe a good friend or a colleague, and telling you about a new app he or she found in the App Store, which is just perfect for you. Maybe you know that people in your life as well. I do know those people. They come up in the coffee corner and put out their phone. I found that app. That's great for you. Use it. And they just show me and I'm, wow, that's great. Okay. And what does a digital hero do? Digital heroes, as a group, they come together and they do missions. Missions are like small tasks to learn about this, try that, experience that. And those missions are put on a platform and they can consume it there and just see what missions they're interested in, what they want to learn, and so on and so on. Some missions are rather small, some missions are rather time consuming. You can, as a hero, decide what you want to do, how many time you have, how much time you want to invest. But in the end, you can put your missions here together and see what you want to do. For example, you want to do the mission about SAP Minutes, which is a great app we have here to put in minutes. You get some instructions what you need to do. And when you accomplish this mission, you get 10 points and you can go up in the leaderboard and win also some things in the end, because you learned something new, you showed something to someone else, and that's just great to share those ideas and that knowledge. Yeah, I think that's for now is more or less the end of our tour. I hope you gathered something new, something interesting about SAP. You had a small glimpse, a small sneak peek behind the scenes at SAP. We now have the time for some questions, some comments, some feedback. So if you want to share something with us or have a question, let us know. You can also raise your hand and we can open up your line. You can also post it in the chat or in the Q&A tool, whatever you prefer. That's up to you.
So Christian, we already got a question from Tishana. And she asked, Sophie, how did you become a working student? Was it hard to apply? And what do you guys do exactly in your daily work life? So first of all, that's a very good question. So I saw the job ad on the website of SAP, and there you will find all the working student positions. You can also search in LinkedIn for positions or for job offers. So that's really cool either. And I think for the application, you have to put in your information into a form and also add your CV and your cover letter and even work experience or other attachments you have. And I think with the question, was it hard to apply? I think it depends what you are passionate about. So I was, for example, invited to an interview, and after that I got invited to a second interview, and then after that I think I got like the yes to work for the IES showroom gladly. And yes, and what are we doing in our daily work life? So maybe I can begin, and then Christian can also tell it from his side, because he was also one of the people who interviewed me for my working student position. So what I do is mainly tasks around communication or marketing. For instance, we are doing a completely new content for the showroom, which will be available next year. So you can also join us there for new tours. And there it was, really great because I had the opportunity to just design some mock-ups for a station, also to research on different topics. And yes, and I'm also right now responsible for the tour script. So that's pretty cool, I guess. So maybe Christian, you also want to add something?
Of course. So I think work days at SAP are very different depending on your role and what you do. So I myself, I'm called a content engagement lead, means I'm bringing together all the great content we have in IT. IT is about 3,500 people, many teams, many projects, many products, many cool things. And what you just saw in the past tour, that was just a few glimpses, really, what we do and what we have here. And I'm trying to pull together all the great things we have at SAP. Looking for new teams, new projects, and just seeing what really fits also in our story that we can tell it. And then we bring it in tours like that, or we bring it on the sap.com website, which you can also check out, which is sap.com/SAP runs SAP. There are more stories about what we do behind the scenes, how it works at SAP. And that's what I do. I hope that answers the question.
Maybe you can also get a little bit into it. Was it hard to apply? So because you were the person who interviewed me, so what can you expect?
I think that's really different from the teams and the area I want to go in. So we are in IT. I more or less can talk about IT. What, for example, I can't talk about is sales or our HR departments. So what I know is that there are many student positions are always posted in LinkedIn. So I see in my network that there are many people from time to time putting in new positions, looking for working students, looking for interns, to just share their knowledge, bringing new people into SAP, and having this great opportunity out there. So I would honestly start looking into LinkedIn and similar platforms, what's out there, because I think when you get in contact with the people, also the people posting that, then I think that's the first step, knowing the people and coming into their minds.
I hope this answered your question. Otherwise, feel free to put another question in the chat.
Also posted the website I mentioned, just in case you want to check it out. I think also Sophie posted the how we run email address we have. So if you're interested in diving into one or another topic we mentioned deeper, or if you want to have a guided tour for your student group or your team or whoever group you are coming from. So if you want to have a deep dive or another tour, just contact us. We're open for discussions, open for new tours, to share our knowledge, to discuss with you what you use, what you think about technology, and how we bring it together with people, how we make the best out of it. So let us know, contact us if you're interested. I think you also find Sophie and myself, but also the showroom on various social media platforms, so LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever which is out there. You will find us. So if you're interested in following what we're doing here, let's connect. So are there any more questions in the tool, Sophie? I think that's it for now, right?
Yes, there are no questions right now.
Great. Then I would say thanks a lot for joining our session, for sticking till to the end. It was a pleasure for Sophie and myself to share our knowledge, share our ideas, share SAP's philosophy, and tell you a little bit about the Intelligent Enterprise. As mentioned in the beginning, we have the feedback poll at the end, where we kindly ask you to put in some feedback. We are really digging some honest feedback, so whatever you have in mind, put it into our survey. And I think that's it from us.